Thank you, Chair. Good morning, Chair, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, I thank the organizing committee of 6th edition Cahocon for giving me this opportunity to speak on aviation safety and its impact on healthcare. Ever since I joined armed forces, I found a lot of similarity between aviator and the healthcare worker. Firstly, both of them are highly educated and trained personnel. They are trying to do always right things. They are working under most stressful circumstances. They deal with very complex systems and subsystems, and both of them deal with human lives. And most important of all, I thought, we cannot delegate our responsibilities to our subordinates. Like medical professional cannot delegate his responsibility to paramedical person. Similarly, the aviator cannot hand over his control to the cabin crew. So with this background, I thought, considering the audience of medical, I will briefly acquaint you with the aviation stresses. And to understand aviation stresses, I will hurriedly just recapitulate the atmosphere and few gas laws which we must have learned in our childhood, and the mitigating strategies adopted in aviation industry, the common challenges in aviation and healthcare, aviation safety records, what can healthcare learn from aviation, that is most important, what is basically the meat of my talk, and what aviation does better, and finally, if time and chair permitting, I will touch upon fatigue for a minute or so. Our earth is surrounded by air, that is our environment. It is divided into 5 layers, that is troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, ionosphere, and then exosphere means external space from 600 kilometers onward. Our area of interest is the bottommost troposphere, where the clouds, water vapor are there and where flying takes place. In these zones are divided based on the temperature changes in various spheres. As we go up in the atmosphere, the temperature steadily falls. That is at the rate of 1.98 degrees Celsius per 1,000 feet of climb. And our air is constituted of all of snow, 98% nitrogen and 21% oxygen. As we go up in the atmosphere, the atmospheric pressure keeps on falling exponentially. It is not a linear fall. At standard pressure at sea level is 760 millimeter mercury, as we all of us know. At 18,000 feet, this pressure becomes half, 380 millimeter mercury, and at 33,000 feet, it is 1/4 of 760. Similarly, the oxygen partial pressure also falls in the same ratio, 21% of the atmospheric pressure. If you go purely by physics, our life would have become non-sustainable at much lower altitude, thanks to our adaptation and acclimatization on atmosphere and high altitude, and the peculiar nature of oxyhemoglobin curve, its shift to left and shift to right characteristics, gives us great advantage. Suffices to say, from 10,000 feet upwards, we require oxygen in increasing percentage, and at 33,000 feet, we will require 100% oxygen. And when we climb up to 40,000 feet, we will require oxygen under positive pressure. So it leads to, now coming to gas laws. As we know, we must have learned in physics in our intermediate classes, when temperature is constant, the pressure of air is inversely proportional to the volume. Means a body of air, if taken up in the atmosphere, its volume will increase. Means a body of gas at ground level will become double its size at 18,000 feet. It will lead to barotrauma, even emphysematous bullae rupture. Charles' law says if pressure is constant, the volume of a gas is directly proportional to temperature. If temperature increases, volume of gas will increase. Henry's law says mass of gas dissolved in the liquid is directly proportional to the partial pressure of the gas at the surface of the liquid, provided the gas is not chemically combining with the liquid. Meaning thereby, on Earth, every fluid is saturated with dissolved gases. When we take this body of liquid up in the atmosphere, these gases will evolve out and they will form micro nuclei, micro bubble in the tissues, and it leads to decompression sickness. Having learned these basic laws, there are aviation stresses, which I think I want to you understand this so that you understand aviation better. In flying, because of linear accelerations and angular accelerations on turn, leads to shifting of body fluids, that is blood, towards the inertial forces and centrifugal forces. This problem is primarily in the fighter aircraft, not in the transport aircraft. So this shifting of fluid leads a lot of disturbances in the CVS, respiratory system and CNS. At 4.5 G, it will render pilot unconscious. That is known as G-induced loss of consciousness, and will remain unconscious for 3 to 5 minutes. Then is decompression sickness. As I told, these gases will evolve on ascent. In commercial airline, it doesn't happen. But yes, if there is a canopy blowout or there is any hole in the aircraft, this can happen. Hypoxia, as we go up, oxygen partial pressure is going down. It will lead to hypoxia. Pressure reducing, volume increasing will lead to barotrauma, otitic barotrauma, dental barotrauma, emphysematous bullae rupturing. Hypothermia, temperature reducing, hypothermia. Inadequate or spurious visual cues, spurious vestibular input, and spurious proprioception, which happens in aviation, will lead to spatial disorientation. Nowadays, new menace in the environment is drugs and alcohol. Aviation is inherently noisy, leads to noise-induced hearing loss, lot many psychosomatic problems, psychological problems, and psychiatric ailments. Human factors. Now, man is the weakest link in man-machine environment complex. How these problems of aviation stresses are mitigated? Most important of all is cabin pressurization. Our cabin of aircraft is pressurized. Our aircraft flies at, say, 36,000 feet, but the cabin altitude is kept below 7,000 feet. We are comfortable, we don't require any additional oxygen. Aircraft nowadays are more reliable and stable, do not lead to any problem. They are equipped with all kind of modern gadgets to help us navigate and fly. Cabin is conditioning, it is kept at a comfortable temperature so that we don't get hypothermia. What are common challenges in aviation and health sector? Both these sectors are poised for a quantum jump in future. This is IIM Bangalore Management Review of 2019. There is going to be exponential increase in the domestic and international flying. You will be surprised, with this much of workload, we are employing foreign pilots in our skies. In 2019, we had around 900 pilots, foreign nationals are flying Indian aircrafts under FATA, Foreign Aircrew Temporary Authorization Scheme. Similarly, in 2017, healthcare sector was the fourth largest employer of human resource. That was around 320,000 employed. By 2020, it was supposed to have 40 million jobs. And 2022, the healthcare market is expected to be $133.44 billion. It is huge, huge jump. Okay, there is already a shortage of manpower in healthcare, and it is going to be around 45,000 deficiency in the health professional by 2026. The safety record in aviation has steadily improved since 70s in the last century. And now the accidents per million departure is almost negligible. In the contrary, Medical errors are third largest cause of death in America after cardiac and cancer diseases. By Job Hopkins study, there are about 250,000 deaths every year because of medical errors. But some say it is much more than that. Around 440,000 deaths take place in US every year because of medical errors. Commercial flying is safer than you think. The number of accidents are minimal. It is said generally. The most dangerous phase of commercial flying is your travel from home to the airport. One is likely to die more when you are traveling from your home to airport rather than in flying. Like in America, the aviation deaths were very, very minimal. In 2018, it was bad year for aviation. They had around 500 deaths, whereas they have 3,287 deaths in road accidents every day. Now, what does aviation do better than us? Aviation has a very, very strong safety culture. Right from the training days, they are taught safety comes first each and every time. Because there are various reasons for this. Firstly, our aviators care for their passengers. Second, the aviator is a stakeholder in this business. Means if aircraft goes down, pilot also goes down with it. In the contrary, if an accidental death takes place by, say, a surgeon in OT because of negligence, he can still go home in the end of the day, unlike aircrew. So this feat is not achieved easily. They really toil hard, and if you see, their routine starts from sortie preparation in the morning, then they undergo breath analyzer test, they sign pre-flight papers, and all the systems and subsystems are certified by the authorized signatory of the system, all engine, everything. Then he does the fuel calculation, he does free flight briefing, and finally, when aircrew goes into the aircraft, he carries out the pre-flight checks, he inspects aircraft from outside himself. Then he has got a checklist to fall back in any emergencies. He always resorts to standard communication. He is not at liberty to use any slang or any phrases of his choosing. He has to communicate with standard communication. And finally, on landing back, he carries out post-flight checks. There is a just culture in aviation. If any accident takes place, first reaction is finger pointing, apportion the blame. But in aviation, we don't do that. We always examine the system, not the individual. Whereas in healthcare, the scene is different. The moment something wrong happens, the patient and the family will blame the doctor. Get an attorney, show him in the court, and this environment leads to hiding of facts and finger pointing. It is not a healthy trend. So there are governing national and international bodies. Most important of all is International Civil Aviation Organization. Then there is International Air Transport Association. And in India, Ministry of Civil Aviation, Ministry of Health. In Air Force, there is Indian Air Force, WHO. They keep on giving directives and circulars. And finally, DGCA passes on to the airlines. In America also, similar agencies are there. In India, at the center level, we have got NMC, that MCI erstwhile. But in healthcare, we all know, every hospital may have their own rules. Even with a single hospital, different doctors have different rules under various supervisors, and sometimes there is no rule. Personality based, show me the person, I show the rule. Recurrent training is very important, and our aircrew undergoes recurrent training even after their initial training, and they have to pass this, and it is based on simulator and other training aids. Whereas in healthcare sector, we have got MCI credit scores, but how seriously we do it, that is anybody's guess. Checklist. Aviation follows checklists very, very meticulously, and there is one checklist for every imaginable thing. Checklists are really very excellent way to ensure that everything is done in proper and standardized way. Now checklists are coming into the medical profession also. Now the audit. Every aviation accident or incident is followed by court of inquiry. The team consists of everybody who knows about subject, including medical, and this is carried out under the HFACS, Human Factor Analysis or Classification System. This is very, very interesting system. I will not go into detail on that, because basically what it does is, it says unsafe act at the executor level. These unsafe act may be because of preconditions created to have these unsafe act. These preconditions are because of unsafe or suboptimal supervision, and this suboptimal supervision is because of preconditions created in the organization. When these inadequacies line up together, it is going to lead some accident. Incident reporting. Every incident, how so small it may be, it is reported in the aviation. Non-reporting is taken very seriously. Now we know in medical healthcare sector, we always publish international patient safety goals, and these goals cannot be achieved without impartial, judicious, and serious reporting. What lesson healthcare take from this? Dr. Keith Ruskin, he is a professor of anesthesia of critical care in University of Chicago, and he is licensed pilot, around 15,000 hours under his belt. He says, healthcare is several decades behind aviation in safety. We need to act quickly in order to catch up. Aviation safety has been successful because of the modification done many, many decades ago. In healthcare, we are very late to start, slow to grow. For us, time is running out. In coming years, with increased demand, it will lead to further chaos. Few words about fatigue. Fatigue is very, very important factor in both aviation and the medical sector because of unpredictable work hour, long duty hours, circadian disturbance, insufficient sleep. And we all know, sleep-deprived person think and move slow. He resorts to shortcuts, makes mistakes, and have memory lapses. Now, at least in aviation, we have accepted, yes, fatigue is a problem. And we have laid down various guidelines of rest, duty, fatigue risk management system is already in place. This is a busy slide. If anybody is interested, he can note down these hours of how many landings he can do, how many hours he can fly, how many hours of rest is required before flying. We have again suggested cockpit napping, activity breaks, long haul sorties. The pilot, one set of crew can sleep in the bunks, other set can fly. And in US and even in our Indian Air Force, we have resorted to pharmacological intervention to induce the sleep and wakefulness for the air crew. We have also suggested exercises. In a long haul, boredom sets in, one becomes sleepy. He is supposed to do some sort of stretching exercises in the cockpit while in the seat. Now, honestly, can any resident tell to our consultant, look, sir, I am fatigued, I am sleep deprived? No, no resident has ever said, because he knows the answer, what answer he is going to get from his consultant. In our time, we used to work 48 hours at a stretch. Nowadays, you guys are well paid, you have got all the facilities, and you are always fatigued, you are always sleep deprived. So, now there is a time to recognize the problem. First is accept the problem, then only you can find the mindset. So, carry home points. First, accept the problem. Resort to recurring training. Then make standardized SOP for everything. Checklist is a must. Like in Air Force, we have got separate department for audit, that is called DGINS, Director General Inspection and Safety, which is headed by one Air Marshal. Similarly, there is a need that we must have one such body which is not under the administration, which just audits the safety in a hospital. Thank you very much.